If you would, before we start, if everybody could put their phones on silent or off, please. We will now call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. Our first order of business is the public comment. Issues or concerns not on the regular agenda may be raised by the public at this time. Citizens should speak from the podium, address all comments to the dais, and begin by stating their name and address or single-member district number. Please limit all remarks to less than 3 minutes. Do we have anybody?
No, sir.
Okay. We will now move to the consent agenda. Has everybody had a chance to, are we voting on the consent agenda? Okay. So we'll have, can we do them both at the same time? Okay, we have consideration of October 27, 2024, and the consideration of the November 21st, 2024 meetings. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, we will now move into our regular agenda. Our first case is CA 24-27, 211 North Chadbourn, a request for approval of a 6x10 mural to be painted on the exterior of an existing side facade on the subject property.
Awesome. Thank you. Kim Garmany, Planning and Development Services Administrator. You'll remember this from last month. We had 2 murals come forward and there was a mistake on the agenda, and so we didn't get to review one. This is that one. It is in District 3 in the downtown neighborhood, Central Business District. It's also in the historic overlay. The address is 211 North Chadbourn. This building already has painted brick, and the mural is will be black and white. Just wanted to make sure, confirm. Okay, we were under the impression that it was black and white, so we will need to add one of the conditions that the colors be in the historic color palette. We do recommend approval of this mural, and remember that at DHRC you are approving the location of the mural, not the content of the mural.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any questions for Kim? Nope. Okay. We will open it up for public comment. Is anyone here? I guess since they didn't sign, but don't they have to do that first?
I will say technically the requirements are they are required to sign up prior to the meeting. If you want to allow her to speak, we will have her fill out the paperwork after. But in the future, we would not be able to allow that.
Okay. I think, does anybody in the board have, I think we're good. Okay. Thank you. Okay, we will now open it up to the board. Anybody have any discussion, questions? I guess the only thing that's different now is it will be in color instead of black and white, which, a lot of the other ones were done that way too, that Willie Nelson, it's in color. I think it's a great idea, great project. I think it'll really make an impact statement on that building.
Now, it's viewable from which direction?
When you're going north, you'll see it,
Okay.
which is good, because you're coming the other way, you don't really see
Well,
it
the
at
front
all.
part of the building is the rock, so it won't be on the building till it becomes brick.
Yes, yeah, it's Guy and Eva Choate's building.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's, I don't know,
It's just-
for some reason from the photographs that were sent out and from looking at it on Google Earth, I thought, okay, is this part of that back patio that we've been through on?
yeah, it's right there
approving?
where that fence goes, right there on that sidewall. It's about a 15-foot wall right there.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
think it'll look really good. Somebody like to make a motion?
I move that we accept the recommendation from staff to approve.
Okay. Can I
I'll
get a-
second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Julie. Okay, we will now move to our second case, which is CA 24-30, 1621 North Chadbourn, a request for a certificate of appropriateness to repair and update the exterior of a historic residence located at 1621 North Chadbourn Street.
Thank you, Kim Garmany again. In District 4 in the Reagan neighborhood, current zoning is RM1, and this is in the historic overlay. I don't believe it's in the historic overlay, but the building itself
It's
is historic.
historic.
And you'll remember that this property came to us a few months ago whenever a tree fell on the carriage house and they came for a demolition permit. So I just wanted to remind you, they're coming back because they would like to do some work on the exterior of the home. And most of the, what they are suggesting is like for like. So we'll go through what are those changes right now. So the big one that they're doing is replacing the windows. And they are aware of the historic designation of the property, and so they are aware that the windows that they replace with will have to be approved within the design standards that are already there. Additionally, they will be repairing these cracks on the foundation. I think that it would be a good question to ask the applicant to clarify if that is cosmetic or it will go deeper than just the cosmetic. You'll see that there's a few places on the stairs that need some minor repairs. They will be taking the original front door and sanding it and repainting it the same color, replacing it. Additionally, they would like to replace that light right over the front door on the porch with the light that you see there on the left. Speaking with the chair and the vice chair before the meeting, they concluded that that would be an acceptable fixture for this time period. They would like to repair under the porch. You see that, I believe it's that called beadboard.
Yes.
Yes, sir. They are going to try to repair it. If they can't repair what's already there, they will be replacing it like for like and trying to redo the exact same thing. And the color will be the same. You will see the roof shingle example on the side. Another question you might want to ask the applicant, I believe they are just repairing the places on the roof that need it, but you might want to ask if they are planning to do the whole roof, if that is important to you all. And the last thing you'll see here is an example of a fence, but we did let the applicant know that one of the conditions that we're recommending is this fence is either a white picket fence, or wrought iron fence, as the home was built in 1913, and we believe that a fence of that nature would go more with the historic designation. You'll see on the picture on the left is where the fence will go, along the, I am directionally challenged, along the left and the right sides, that fence will be 8 feet. I'm not sure if they will need to modify that because it's a picket fence or a wrought iron, but they do plan to have 8 feet along the sides and then 4 feet along the front.
Oh, go ahead.
Staff is recommending that we approve this case, and you will notice that we did add that extra condition from the time that the staff report went out to you until today about the fence, either white picket or wrought iron. They will have to follow all of the historic requirements for the property, and of course, they will have to get all of the required permits from Permits and Inspection Division.
Okay. Any questions for Kim? Okay.
I believe that this example is what is there now. And I did forget to say they are touching up the trim with white, a historic white color.
Is there not a picture of the whole house from the front? I mean, where it shows, yeah, there's the roof right there. I guess we can just ask the applicant on that.
And the applicant is here whenever you open public comment.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. So we will open it up for public comment. Just, yes.
I was just here in case y'all needed.
If you would please come up to the podium and state your name
My name is Chris Bravo, and I am assisting Mr. Shahid with this property. Sorry, too short. And if y'all have any questions, I can help you
So
answer
you're
those.
the owner of the property?
I'm owner
Oh,
of the
okay.
property.
I have a question on the windows. So
Yes, sir.
in historic buildings like that, since those are wood, so you're going to go back with wood windows?
Yes, yes.
what brand
Whatever
are they?
is suggested for the windows that y'all, we were just going to go to Home Depot and ask them, what kind of windows they would suggest for us to
Okay.
replace it with.
One thing you need to remember on this when you go, which I'd like to put in the record, they can be low E, but they can't be with argon gas fill because they have a green tint to them, and these windows are all clear. So they do make a window like
Okay.
that's clear.
Okay,
And actually, in historic buildings like this, you can actually do what's called a clad window, clad outside, wood inside. That will pass for
okay.
historic.
Well, if
deals.
it's,
So that's something you might want to think about.
Yeah,
Because
whatever. Mm-hmm.
just the durability of it would last so much longer, because then you have that problem there. So, and the look is exactly the same. You can't tell the difference.
Well,
But you can't
good.
do a vinyl or metal, but the clad outside, wood inside, you can do.
okay, perfect. Good suggestion then. Thank you, sir.
And then
We'll
I have
go
a
ahead
question
and do
on the
that.
roof. Are y'all just patching it in, or what? Are you
No,
gonna
we're
replace
gonna
it?
take it off and put a brand new one in.
Okay,
Because it will be for more warranty or cover
Okay.
for it.
and then, on the bottom part of it, where the
Foundation.
steps and all that were, are y'all replastering that? Is that brick? What is
It's
that?
replastering it. It has brick behind it.
Yes.
But it's deteriorating and it's coming
Okay,
off.
So y'all are gonna go in and replaster that?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
good. I think that's a neat house. It'll look
Yes.
good. My biggest question on it was the fence.
Yes, well, we didn't know, what kind of fence was good for it, so we
Yeah, I
just suggested that one, but we were open to whatever y'all suggested.
Yeah, I mean, you could do, in that period, they did picket fences, you could do wrought iron fence, which is real popular back then. But I think it just needs to be, instead of a solid fence, even if you did 1x6 on there, but if they had a gap in between it, that was
Yeah.
more the style, because it gave more of an openness feeling instead of, an 8 foot.
Completely
It would just
shut.
look like a
Yeah,
prison camp to
Yeah.
me. So I think that, to me, really needs to be decided on that. I mean, are y'all in for wrought iron, or are you just whatever?
I will bring that up with Mr. Shahid
I think
and
the
let him
wrought
know
iron
of the
would be the way
options,
to
but I
go
think
myself.
wrought
It would-
iron would look great.
Yeah, because
Black,
they make it
yeah.
aluminum. The only issue I have is doing it 8 foot.
Probably lower
And I'd
than,
like to ask Charlie on that. On the side of a residence, what is the code? Once you get past the front of the house, I know it has to drop down to 4 foot, but like on the side, you can't do it. Can you do an 8 foot fence?
Yes, well, once you get to that 25-foot front setback, and depending on whether they consider, well, they have an alley there, so
Yeah,
the front would
just on
actually
the alley.
be that corner, and you can't go 25 foot into that and then past that. It does require a permit, and we would do an inspection on that.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
yeah, our concern was more on the alley, make it a little bit
Yeah,
taller
on
on
that
that
south
end
side.
only.
I mean, do you
Not on
think-
the 17th Street side or the front, but
Yeah.
just on the alley in that little spot right there after the 25-foot.
Yeah, I mean, would you consider doing it 6 foot tall?
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
can- yeah, yeah.
The way I look at it, I mean, I can see the issue right now because there's no fencing around it. So people are just walking through
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah.
I mean, if you had a 6 foot fence all the way around except in the front, I think that would deter, nobody's gonna climb over anything like that. I
No.
wouldn't think.
No,
That's just my opinion on
And
it. I
should
think
we-
aesthetically, it would look better to me than having a 8 foot fence on it.
Yeah.
And I think it would do the same,
and just to
take
clarify,
care of the
if it
security
was.
issue, whatever with it.
Right. And just to clarify, if it's a picket fence, white, but if it's wrought iron, black?
You could do it black.
Okay.
Yeah, if you could, black wrought iron would look, to me, would look good.
All right.
I'm just thinking back then, that's just what they did. A lot of the homes were that way, with the little picket fence, and they did a decorative gate in the front, and, I
Yes,
think it really enhanced that house a lot.
Okay.
Anybody have any other questions? Okay.
I'd like the board to be aware that the property is actually, oh, that was correct. The
Yeah,
property is actually
can we see where
platted
the
towards,
fence was going? I mean, okay, there. Because the front of the house fronts on Chadburn.
the house fronts on Chadburn, but the property faces 17th Street. So your front
Oh,
setback
really?
would be off of 17th Street. So I'm not sure that we wouldn't want to indicate that we would want that fence to be located no more than 4 foot off of the front, off
So
of that side property line on Chadburn. So you kind of maintain that, even though, again, the building faces Chadburn.
Wow.
um,
But it's plotted, so the front of the house is on 17th?
Yes, sir. Notice how
Wow.
the lots are facing 17th
Okay.
Street?
Oh.
And then they do have an alley in back, and then these are facing this street. So technically, their side, that
So
side
that,
street
that's
is,
the side of the house on Chadburn.
on
correct.
Chadburn is where the house,
Yeah, the main entrance is on
Main
Chadburn
entrance
Street,
is on Chad.
but it's plotted on 17th. Wow. So, okay, well, that throws a kink in it because I guess we'd have a 6-foot fence in the front. And so is the fence on the property line or on the building line? I had a question about that. Where, like can we see that other, that right there? So where would the
So-
fence go?
so if I'm looking at this correctly, they're showing that if this is the alley, then this would be 17th Street.
Oh,
That's
17th?
17th Street. Right?
So you would not be able to put
Yeah,
the fence on the
Chadburn's at
property
the
line. You would
top.
have to bring it back here, 25
17th is
foot.
on the left.
See, it even shows on this, a 25-foot building line right there.
Okay.
And so then, how far are you coming off of Chadburn here?
Right? Isn't it supposed to be, or 5 or 10 foot?
Because
Well,
look, you
you
can
have
see
a
the
side
property
tri-
lines right there. They're inside the sidewalk.
Yes, and you have it.
See that?
From the
So,
sidewalk?
so I think that's where the fence would go on the property line, correct? Which is inside the sidewalk.
So you do have a 30-foot site triangle, so they'd have to stay out of this 30-foot
Correct.
site triangle.
Yeah.
And then if she's saying that she's wanting to put, I don't know how tall, but if she's following this line, she could put technically a 6-foot fence or an
On the
8-foot
front,
fence
actually, yeah.
off of the house.
Except, everything except on 17th Street.
Correct. She's
Yeah.
going to have to move that back to the 25-foot building line that shows on there, unless y'all make a recommendation that you'd like to see that.
Okay, so
But-
yeah, that's right. That 30-foot site triangle's got to come into play too, which that'll be taken care of through your department. They'll look at that.
If they permit an 8-foot fence, otherwise,
Oh, that's right. If they don't, then how does that work?
We would enforce
If they
it through
don't do that and
We would
they
enforce it
didn't
through-
know that, nobody would even inspect it, right?
we would not inspect it, but we would enforce it through code enforcement.
Oh, okay. But I know it'd be nice that they know now before they build it.
Yes, sir.
And then build it, and then they got to tear it back down.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask for guidance on, the board can make the recommendation to put the fence further back on their approval,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, that's why I like to.
I believe that if it was a violation of the city code of ordinance, that there might be the possibility where they can go seek a variance, possibly, but that's the extent of the information that I am aware of at this time.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that site triangle's pretty set in place, yeah.
Yes, sir. I was talking about what
Oh, like in
basing
the-
of the property, not necessarily the platted front,
Oh.
but the setback off of Chadburn.
Yeah, okay. thank you. Have any more questions? Okay, anybody have questions for the applicant?
What
or-
is it that you want to do? Do you know, or?
I'm sorry?
What would you like to do on that?
Whatever is suggested by y'all. I mean, we're new to this too, so we're in y'all's hands. We'll go with whatever y'all suggest that looks better and
We
whatever
all want it to
guidelines
look
we have
good,
to
so
go
we'll-
through.
You know, we're cognizant about that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Nope. Okay, we'll open it up to the board. I think, I don't have a problem with any of it, it's just this fence deal. I think, in my opinion, I would like to see a 4-foot fence, which they have to do on 17th Street. In the front kind of bothers me having a 6-foot fence there. If we could run it all the way to that one corner and then start the 6-foot, once it comes back west, and then all the rest of it could be 6-foot. That would be my
Does-
thinking. I think for
Does the
aesthetics.
fence right now bind the property? In other words, there's sort of a leave-out space here that fronts on Chadburn, and is that a different ownership? When you look at it from Google Earth, it just looks like maybe something used to be there but was
Or
scraped.
like another house or something.
Uh-huh,
Could have been. You don't know.
But yes, ma'am, it's a different owner.
okay.
Yeah, I think it's odd that the front of the house, the front door is Chadburn to me.
Well, and as you come down Chadburn, you're aware of that structure because it's large and
Yes.
the color attracts your eye.
Yeah,
And I would hate to have a 6-foot fence cutting off the view of that
Exactly.
house as you come
Yeah,
down
those are my
Chadburn.
thoughts as well. I mean, you'd want to see the house on Chadburn, and so it would need to be a fence that you could see through. And, well, 6-foot or 4-foot.
so if we did the 4-foot on Chadburn, 4-foot on 17th, what about coming down right here? We're going east, west, right here, coming straight down. So that's what you would see coming down. You think that needs to be 4-foot too?
Well, or
So it'd be
or
3
very
sides, and
open
then it would
looking.
pick up 6-foot coming around the corner.
Yeah, I think it could be as open as the metal
I think
fencing you've mentioned.
Because I think anybody that comes there, I would think they would come through the front door to me. I mean,
On Chadburn.
makes sense to me on Chadburn, I
Well,
guess.
architecturally, it says, "I'm the front door" when you're going
Exactly.
past it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, would a 4-foot fence be enough of a deterrent so people can't hop over or
I
go
think
through
so.
it? Is
Well,
that a
you think
concern?
about it, if I wanted to get in there, I could jump over that 6-foot fence. I mean, you could,
Yeah.
I don't think that. I think that just the fact that you have some kind of barricade there, to me, makes a difference. And they could do it where they have the little spears on top, architecturally would make it look good, but, it's just like anything. If somebody wants to get in, they can get in, but
That's true.
the biggest deal is it physically shows that it is, enclosed.
There's nothing really there right now at this point.
No.
Well, and if you're going to fix up a house like this, you would want it to show,
Sure.
and not be hidden behind a fence of any sort,
I agree.
per se.
Okay, would somebody like to make a motion with the changes on it for the fence?
So I have a question, one more. Will the applicant have to come back and state whether it's a wood picket fence or a metal fence?
Well,
or-
no, we'll stipulate that.
Okay.
But the deal is, what I would like to see, I'd like to see what it's gonna look like. I mean, I hate to have them having to come back again, but
Yeah.
we don't, I would like to see what that wrought iron fence is gonna look, because there's a million different tops you can put on them. So I would like to see that, so it's on record that this is what we approved, in other words. Because otherwise, if they got carte blanche on that, they could do whatever.
The couple of ways that I could see you all moving forward on that is, one, asking them to come back next month so you can approve the actual design of the fence. The other one could be that you put close stipulations, white picket fence made of cedar, wrought iron fence within this time period, and then they would still have to go to get a permit for the fence, correct? if it's over?
No,
No?
not if it's under 8 foot, they don't. Well, can we do this? Can we just approve the whole thing with the because I think they have enough work to do. You know, I mean, I'm just talking, I think you've got enough to do where I don't think that fence is gonna deter you to keep going with the project. So we could approve it all with the stipulation that they could bring back the design of the fence. But let's approve the project so they can get going on it. Can we do that? Can we not do that, or?
Mr. Chairman, I believe that that would be a wise decision and also give them the opportunity to make sure that the height of the fence would be in compliance with our city code of ordinance. And as I mentioned before, that there might be the possibility for them to seek a variance if that's possible with another board. So I believe that that would be wise. Thank you.
Okay, somebody like to make a motion?
Well, I would move that we accept this request, approve it as presented in the like-for-like manner, that everything that's being done is like-for-like, and with the stipulation that we have a future look at the fence.
Okay, so can I add to that? So we are stipulating that it'll be a 4-foot fence on the 17th Street side, the Chadbourne Street side, and then on the south side of the property, and then the rest of it could be 6-foot fence. And then, is that enough?
That's okay
And
with
then-
my motion.
Yeah. And then it will be brought back to us to approve the fence, the design of the fence, the wrought iron. That's what we would like to put on there, a wrought iron fence.
And to clarify, I think that it is nuanced here, but this will not be a new application or a new fee for them to come back next month for that.
Okay, good.
Correct?
Yes,
Everyone?
I
Okay,
think
thank
that's
you. I
fair,
just wanted to
yes.
make sure.
Okay. So we have a motion and a
I'll second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you.
It looks great, thank you.
Okay, we have announcements. The next regular meeting of the Design and Historic Review Commission is scheduled to begin on Thursday, January 16, 2024 at 10 a.m. in the City Council Chambers at 501 Rio Concho Drive. Is there any, from staff, any comments or?
I think we reminded you all last meeting, but elections for chair and vice chair will happen in January. And we are going through and making sure that we're on top of everyone's term limits and whatnot. And if you have any recommendations for people who might want to serve on this commission board in the future, we're always looking for those recommendations so we can connect with those people. Merry Christmas. You all are doing really wonderful work, and it's been great to work with you so far, and I look forward to working with you more in the new year.
Thank you. I'd like to say something before we close. I just want to thank all the board members for giving their time and expertise to all these projects. I'd like to thank the planning director, the planning board department for all their hard work that they do. Thank you, legal, for keeping us in line. Thank you, permit office. You know, it's a collaborative effort for everybody. I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And this will be the last meeting this year. So can we get a motion for adjournment?
Motion for adjournment.
We're done. Thank you.
Thank you.